Hey guys, happy July. It's mid-2023 and I figured it was as good a time as any to do a 2023 goal check-in, but also I might be changing a few things up. I don't know. I am still figuring out how I want to move forward with certain things. So there might be a little bit of experimentation over the next couple months regarding that, but we're going to jump in chronologically, recap a bit from January till now, regards to what I've been doing and how the goals and the little tasks that I listed are doing as well. In the grand scope, it's a lot of things. It is a lot. The dog's under my chair, so we're gonna sit really awkwardly. Okay, a lovely background for you. I planned this poorly. I should stand up, but I'm comfortable. Okay, we're standing here now to maybe give you a slightly better background. Obviously, if you've been hanging out in Creative Commons every week, you know what's going on. So this isn't going to be really anything new, but it's maybe more concise, or at least how I see it. So bam, with the planner there. Kept this going on Canva. I've only started using it this year since Q has been using it. It satisfies my need to create things and then not use them. But this one I did use. I did use this one fairly consistently. Now the only flaw with it is unless I zoom in, it's really only big enough to have like one icon, which was kind of my initial thought, is I'll put one icon there to represent what I did for that day. But it doesn't reflect the actual day-to-day progress. So if you look at that little sticky note, where it kind of breaks down how many days I did things. And at the end of what was the count for June 30th, we had 88 unimpressive / days off. Maybe that wasn't the case. Like maybe I was listening to the audiobook or reading a book, or I was doing something that just didn't, either I didn't remember because I didn't update it daily like I probably should have, or at least every other day. You know, it just wasn't, it didn't feel like enough to earn said icon. For like the book icon, I only notified it on days that I finished a book. So if I was reading or doing any progress, that doesn't show there. So I think I'll try to figure out a different way to do that at some point, but I'm going to continue with this through the rest of the year just to kind of see how it turns out. Going over that, we're going to start in January. I started this year off with a different sort of energy. Last year, I think I had 22 goals of 2022. That did get a little bit overwhelming, but only being able to complete more than half of those, though an accomplishment, I felt like because they were such bigger goals that I didn't achieve, I was disappointed. So I'm like, well, let's change up the dialogue there. And we made the two large goals being getting book 3 of my trilogy done and working on remastering Kuro Kenshin, which is my graphic novel series. And then anything else is bonus. That was the thought going into this. So anything else was bonus. So I got a lot of anything else. I decided that I wanted to finish some video games that I had started and they were just unfinished. And I was like, this is the year to finish things and like clear the slate. So maybe that's really what this year is about, clearing the slate. Technically restarted Mass Effect, and I played through the first game. And then I finished Horizon Forbidden West. I played through Hogwarts Legacy in February. And then the game that I'm still playing continuously, Disney Dreamlight Valley, I'm just still playing it every day, like doing its little daily tasks and stuff. So that's like that's a permanent thing. So anywho, went into the mind of cleaning things up, trying to finally get house projects done. For anybody who's a homeowner, that is impossible. That is simply impossible. I think I've added several as the months have gone on, but I know I started off because we were trying to refinish our basement. And what did I do? I dropped my phone in the can of paint and it died. So I did get a new phone in January, and I also got new tires. I didn't actually spend too many days in January or February writing and working on book 3, which that for me, I'm like, what else was I doing? Because I have a lot of X's in January and February. And I do have a lot of books as well. So I was probably listening to audiobooks and reading, because I know I try to start really strong on getting those books done. And I was reading the Augustin series at that time, which was a 6-book series of torture, but we were doing it for like a review discussion video. So that was kind of like my priority at the beginning of the year. So that's what like 5 of those books are. We got past that, a little bit of freedom. In January, I had only written or added essentially about 7,000 words to the draft 1 of book 3 for Grave of Brothers. And that, while it didn't hit the ending, that was the end of my draft 1 because I never write the actual ending in draft 1. I write it to a point where I'm like, okay, I know I need to change enough. Let's go back and do that. And then we'll come here and we'll actually write the ending. So draft 2 in February, I wrote just under 10,000 words. So again, not a huge contribution, but that was obviously not just raw writing either. Some of it might have been like a new chapter or so, but I was reading through draft 1 and making edits, and I only would track if I had a net gain on that day. So that's another thing that if I feel like collecting more data in the future, I might do just something along those lines. In March, this was when I think I did a week challenge where if I didn't or work on it every day for the week, I had to take a punishment. And the punishments are still on the back of my door, which was the one that I was trying to avoid was deleting 10 pages. Thank you, Ian. And we successfully avoided that. Thanks to that, I ended up writing 22,800 words that month in addition. So like I added on that many to what was in that process, draft 2. And then in April, I went and did the same thing. Over the course of the month, I wrote 24,000 words. So again, these are not huge numbers compared to like if I was writing every day, but these were like several 4,000 word days, which is a lot for me. And the only thing that really went on in April was I had a powerlifting meet on the 22nd, which went about as expected for my first meet. I got 2 out of 3 on all of my lifts, which I was just glad that I wasn't nervous because I do have performance anxiety, believe it or not. And I was able to go in confidently, perform my lifts, you know, try that last one as a little bit of challenge. Did not succeed on any of them. I could have succeeded on my deadlift, but from about late March, because it was second week of Ramadan, I think is when it started, through my meet, I had radiculopathy, so I had numbness in my pinky and ring finger and just general like loss of strength through my arm, so I didn't have grip strength. Working on that, now I'm able to pull more weight, but I keep messing up my shoulder, cause struggles. In any case, did that at the end of April. May was the worst month of the year so far. And not to drag it out, but beginning of May, we took Tundra, our little precious girl, to get an MRI because she was going through several head twitching, behavior changes, just very odd behavior. And the only thing the vet could think of was either ocular or in her brain. So we did the MRI and unfortunately did show that about half of her brain was dead. Like it was dying off progressively. And it was a very rare condition that not even their top doctor had knowledge of, that they got out the textbooks to figure out what was going on and try to identify it. So there was no treatment. There was only medication to like kind of combat the seizures, but they did not take. We did have to put her down on May 6th because she was just having terrible seizures. And I'm not going to go into detail because I know some of you guys are a little more sensitive to animals and their pain. So that was really rough. And of course, my way of dealing with stress was to ignore it and try to make everybody else feel better. So I made myself busy. I like reorganized the entire house that weekend. Obviously, we still have a Treyu who's best boy. He was getting like 2 or 3 walks a day. Lots of attention just to distract him from her loss. And then I didn't take off any work because I was just like, I can't push my body, probably stress it out way more than it needed to. Ended up getting sick for a solid 2 weeks. And it was like flu-ish, but the doctors couldn't even diagnose it. So for whatever case, May was pretty darn terrible. Going on to June, where we are kind of coming back from things, trying to get stuff in order. Obviously, I still have book 3 to essentially finalize, and I had finished what I called draft 3 because I had laid some out and I did some edits, and I had Q read up to a certain point, about 2/3 through the book, because that was where I had a split decision, and I went the one way that I didn't intend to go initially, and we both agreed we didn't like that way. So I had to rewrite the last 120 pages, and I think I added 40. So I had a very stressful comeback trying to get that done, because I wanted this in the hands of beta readers like in April. That obviously didn't happen. But now it is in the hands of beta readers, so I was able to successfully get through that by the end of June. So you can see that little cluster of computers down there. Producing a copy that, while it still has plenty of proofread errors, as my husband has identified, is readable and has most of the kinks worked out. That brings us to where we are now. That's already been quite a long recap, and it's getting warm in here, so I'm gonna turn the fan on. So here we are in July. My birthday is in July. So my new year is essentially July, just because I more internalize what did I get done by my next birthday versus what I got done by January 1st, which is just cold and I don't want to do anything in those months. That's another reason why we're doing the update right now. We're starting off pretty strong, and because I have book 3, which I didn't even show you, shame on me. This is the proof copy, so I do want to do a little bit of more contrast on the cover. It's actually not too bad for the vibe that I wanted. The text actually looks really good in this image. I don't have the background or the back cover blurb yet because I'm not excited about writing those. It's hard to summarize this chunk into like a tiny paragraph, and it is a chunk. It is 550 pages, so it's 100 pages longer than book 2. But my husband has just read through that, and we discussed several points of just making sure things were consistent. He does not hold back. So even if like, oh, I really like this scene, he's gonna tear me apart. But we went through that. So this month, or at least for another week, no, the rest of this month is my break from this book, which I have not taken a break of long term so far this year. I started the first draft lines of this during Camp Nano in 2022. So essentially the rest of this month of July is my little break from this. So what are we doing? Well, we're kind of going to start the same way we did at the beginning of the year, with a clean the slate approach. Now, I did already play through Kingdom Hearts with the help of my husband, just kind of grinding and getting my level up because he wanted to. I didn't ask, he did it. I still finished the game on my own. I'm trying to get through a bunch of the other books that I wanted to read this year. So my 23 of 23 books. We are making progress, and let me show you where we are at. And now we're gonna switch some images over here. Even though I'm gonna be looking this way a lot, you guys look at that, okay? All right, we are starting at the top of the document, which is house tasks. The ones that are in yellow now have been completed to satisfaction. The ones that are in orange have been started but not finished. And then ones that are still in the darker green are just things that still need to get done. But we did get a few things done. So I got electric outlets put in the basement, as well as we bought a new carpet for the living room, and we bought ourselves new bedding, which I did not know was so satisfying. Like, it's always been hand-me-down, secondhand stuff, but as an adult, getting a new bedding set was great, because not only did we get, well, initially in this, for the bedding part, we just bought like a whole new sheet set and a comforter and like a throw, like just basics. I installed pegboard in the basement for all the Nerf guns on display. And we did line the patio with bricks, revamped our front garden. We finally finished everything that we had to redo for the basement walls. The floor, I've not painted it since I dropped my phone in it in January, and I literally just need to get through the rest of the can. So hopefully that'll happen this month. I cleaned out the garage attic, if you want to call it that, and I totally unhauled the garage. It was bad because it had all the basement stuff in it, and now it's functional and clean, and I can actually go out there and dance if I want to. We did finish painting the box cover, which we created a box to cover. It's where they had the water meter and they had a cupboard there, but that got ripped out, so we just redid it and we made it's a box. I made the guest room a little bit more cozy by putting a bed in, like a queen bed in there. Along with that is when I got the actual new bedroom furniture and matching dressers that I bought off a coworker. It was a great deal. We still need to finish sealing the porch roof, and now we need to repair it because we found a hole. And then we have to clean and fix one of the downspouts, finish touches on the half bath, other stuff we haven't even touched yet for those who care. So I made an accomplishment sheet, and there's only a couple things that were on here in January that I took off because they didn't match with my goals anymore. But I have a lot more green on here of things I got done. These are not obviously just like something I got done, but something to just look back on and be like, oh, I did that. Like I got a new phone, and I talked about the games already. I filed my taxes. The Beast of the East Fork was a 5K obstacle race, super fun. I actually missed doing those. I didn't realize that, but I do. I finished reading an indie series, though it was a terrible one. I did a blind makeup challenge on Creative Commons. I can now bench 1 plate or 135 pounds. My max currently is 155 for 1 rep. I typed up a manuscript for a different little job there. I did my powerlifting meet. A lot of my author events are in the fall, so I'm still waiting for those things to happen. Another manuscript to type up. I finished another game. And I finally, just recently, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, I deadlifted 315 pounds, which was a goal because there's 345 plates on each side of the bar. Still rereading the Twisted Tales. It's because I want to physically read those. It's taken longer, but I got some stuff done, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. Creative ideas. I have not been able to really branch out and do these because book 3 has literally absorbed my life, and it just got to the point where every single Creative Commons, I was like, I'm still working on book 3. I'm still working on book 3. I drew the mascot for Team Ika, I Can't Challenge Accepted, which is our Create-a-thon, one of my Create-a-thon team. We also have another team, Team FAFO, which I did their mascot last year, so I wasn't on the list. And I did my 23 goals video, which is way back in January. That's all I've really got done from this list. I've started the 1-year publishing video twice and probably going to end up redoing it. Currently we're doing a villainous tournament with the board game, so that is ongoing. And I'm just like filming little clips of our matches. I sort of am working on the 90-day planner. Like I just ordered my current version of it to see if I even like the printing quality that I was looking at for the printer, but also just to test it out. And obviously, though book 3 is done, it's still not done, it's not out, it's not fully published, so that's still in progress. I just put like a goal of something I thought was easily achievable, which was like put up 20 TikToks. I don't know if I put that many up. I mean, I know I don't think I've done 20 creative ones quite yet. We're getting there. It's been like, obviously it's been a relatively rough year. On to the audiobooks. So I had 23 audiobooks picked out for this year for me to read. As of filming this video, I have completed 13 of the 23, so I have 10 left, but I'm in process of listening to Ember in the Ashes. And a lot of the ones remaining are big. A few of these have sparkles, and those are ones that I really enjoy and want to continue the series. For the most part, I have enjoyed them all to a certain extent, but those are like, I am going to read them next year. And onto the actual books. This first page is obviously for the Twisted Tales that I'm rereading. I've reread Reflection and A Whole New World. I read the new release, Wish Upon a Star, and I have not reread Go the Distance, but I did the read along, so I feel like I can make my review from that. That's why it's orange and in process. I still have a lot to go. The next book were not in that series, obviously. Did not ever plan to read ACOTAR, but it was one of those things where 3 of us ended up buddy reading it. Discuss it. Twilight was better, and Hunger Games was so much better than Twilight. And I just finished reading Bravely a couple nights ago. Very, very well done. It took me a minute to get into it, but once I figured out what the plot was and how everything was going, really enjoyed it. would recommend. I read that indie series, so that's that whole little column there on the right. And I read The Elemental's Guardian, and this month I've already started Bleed More, Body More, so I'm definitely going to finish that. But there's only 3 other planned indie books on my list at the moment. And then now we can get into the 2 major projects, which we're going to start with the one that you already know is doing well, what I was using to track progress for book 3. And it's with beta readers at the moment. Once I get to that, I will go through and make the little changes before my editor gets it in August. So that one's going well. Kuro Kenshin has not made a lot of progress. I did prep the pages, and I think I cleaned up some of them. It's really just getting through the first volume of Kuro Kenshin. That's gonna be the longest thing, and I just didn't have the mind space to do it. But according to the plan says I should be able to get through volume 1 if I'm diligent by the time my book is back from the editor. So that's up to me. Now, everything has been up to me, but I think that would be very cool if I could achieve that. The only thing stopping me right now is my computer, because my tablet needs an HDMI, and then my monitor decided it doesn't like the DP port, it wants to be in the HDMI as well. I'm troubleshooting to figure that out. So that is still very much in progress. I hope to see a lot more of that filled in by the time I recap you guys at the end of December, beginning of January, since that'll be another check-in point. But for now, it's, I set it up. I have a plan. So that is everything I have written down at this moment regarding how this year has gone. With all that being said, what am I going to do, or what am I planning to do over the next 5.5 months at this point, because it's already halfway through July and I started this late. July, for the remainder of these 2 weeks, is still going to be that clean the slate feeling. If I can finish any of these house tasks that I have started and haven't finished, great. Mostly I'm focusing on getting through some more audiobooks and physical reads, just so that media consumption is done for the moment, because in August I'm going to get my feedback for book 3 from my beta readers, so I'll be doing a quick sort of edit through that before my editor gets it. So we're going back to book focus in August. She'll get that at the end of the month, giving me about 3 weeks before I need to do the final proofread, which September is also Create-a-thon. It is a month-long marathon, just encouraging all the participants to be creative throughout the month. Whether that's, you know, making food or making art, writing, drawing, like whatever is creative, you know, crafts and stuff. So it's very open-ended, but we're having some fun with it. We're doing weekly prompts in which you can challenge yourself, but also earn points for you. There will be more details on that coming out soon, but if you want to see any other information or ask any questions, feel free to stop into Creative Commons every Monday evening and ask me what's going on. Or we do have a couple of videos from last year where we were doing daily prompts and whatnot with that. That's kind of the majority of July, August, September. And with that, I'm trying to include doing some more towards Kuro Kenshin just to like have some momentum to get that first book done. October. I can't cross all these without aid. October. The 14th, I have an author fair. So ideally, I want book 3 to be all proofed and shiny and ready to go for that event. It's a pretty tight deadline because if she does take 3 weeks, which she usually books 3 weeks for the project for her to edit, I'll be getting it back 3rd week of September, giving me a week to accept all the changes, order a proof copy, read the proof copy to make sure it's perfect, and then publishing and ordering copies. Doable, but difficult. Regardless, October is the month planned for release of Grave of Brothers, which is like kind of appropriate. In any case, October will be that, so whatever I need to finish will also go into the months leading up to that regarding like the book description, the website, the promotions. And then, by some grace of God, I don't have to do anything. in November or December. I don't have to. Everything is bonus. Now, obviously, I keep mentioning that I do want to get Kuro Kenshin done because that's the next big project. I'm not publishing anything else until I get that done. It's taking up like 4 back burners, which is the whole stove. I'm sure I will find things to do because I still have a bunch of like smaller tasks and ideas, so I'll be doing stuff. After that, we're like probably at 1000%. Again, we'll see. But that's kind of what I'm looking at for the rest of the year. And as far as the changes that I've mentioned, you've probably noticed, or you haven't because there haven't been videos. But I want to make progress towards those more routines. So me working on stuff does become more regular and more measurable as well as manageable. So I'm not getting stressed out and having to write 4,000 words in a day instead of just 1,000 words like every other day or whatever. Forming habits, creating routines, figuring out how life balance, because most other things in life have chilled out. Like obviously the beginning of the half a year with all of Tundra's symptoms and us not knowing how to manage it, and then there was probably an undue level of stress that whole time. Looking to the positive, keeping her kind of silly energy in mind, moving forward and trying to create just like a stable routine. Because we like that. We like that. We're too organized a person to be this disorganized all the time. We've put in work, we've stumbled, we've hurt ourselves along the way, but there's still 6-ish months left to continue that good momentum and make stuff out of it. Like I said, I acknowledge I've gotten shit done. And while the voice inside me says, yes, you can do more, you had 88 days of not really doing anything. Again, we're trying to figure out balance. We're trying to do that. So we're going to see what else we can do because we can only do our best moving forward and keep swimming and all that. So before this video drags on too much longer, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe and like, or, you know, check out other videos I got. And as you can see behind me, we already have my first 2 books and my manga sort of on display there. So go and check out my Ko-fi page. All the links are in the description below. But you can purchase a physical copy from them and have me sign it, and I'll send it to you with nice little card stuff. And then book 3, the chunky baby, this one here, is, like I said, planned to be coming out in October this year in all of its chunky chunkiness. So that the website will be updated soon with the description and the pre-order links. So that will be all for today. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you Mondays or in the next video.